North Vernon.
Yeah, from the owner property.
French lick isn't what you
It ain't got nothing like his own. You've heard Dave go over here.
I heard it from you.
Oh, okay. But what about the homeless guy down here? Find the rebel flag.
There seems to be a lot of paper up here for what looks like a team meeting. Where in the world did you get that big book at?
Yeah. I think this, the problem's gonna solve itself.
You asked for permission, okay. I went through that.
I'm making my packet for
Anything at all.
because this is the one that you did here.
That's right.
Because you put declaring surplus first because it was 19. I don't know it's passed.
Cookie does all the every meeting.
It's 6.
I looked at it in my email. You know.
Am I gonna change my vote between the others?
Okay.
Good to go?
Yep, good to go. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for an invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, as we gather this evening, we thank you for this wonderful town that we live in. We thank you for the privilege that it is to serve this community. And we ask for your strength, courage, and wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Call to order the August 1st, 2023 Morrisville Town Council meeting. Gentlemen have had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting. I'd need a motion to either amend or approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Greg, Josh, 5-0. Under unfinished business, or new business, we have nothing under it. Resolution 19, declaring certain personal properties to be surplused. This is you. Carrie had spoke to us earlier about certain items. And Carrie, help me out on the computers. What was it? You were going to work those through the school system somehow? Is that correct?
Yeah, so these are old laptops that we don't use anymore, and they were just taking up room. And so I talked to Mr. Upton over at the high school, and they have a computer science class. Thought it'd be good to donate them to the school. Some of them to the school, and then the Boys and Girls Club said they had a computer guy that would actually go through the other ones and make them workable so the kids could use them for homework or whatever after school.
Okay. And you have an approximate price out here? Is that something that is already agreed upon with them, or is that something?
It was going to be a donation. They were just sitting there.
Well, that's what I took it as, and then I saw that price out there.
Well, I think that I had to give an estimated value of each one, and I don't know anything about.
If the total exceeds a certain number, then we have to dispose of it a different way.
But we're good this way.
We're good this way because it comes out low.
One of the computers they actually found in a creek, so it's probably not going to be workable. I'll probably just have to give it to the
There it
recycle.
was.
Yeah.
There's too many jokes there, isn't there?
Give that one to Dave. Give it to Dave.
I could donate to the fire chief if you want me to.
And that's what I thought it was, and I saw that dollar amount. That's why.
Yeah, and the radars that we had, actually the company that works on our radars, or we'll take them in as a trade-in sort of thing. So they'll actually give us that value for those radar units, which is not much, but they're really, really old, and they probably need a lot. They don't work. So
Did you get to write that number in there yourself?
I did.
Can we write $1 million then?
$1 million is what I charged them for.
No, I thought that was a fantastic idea that you had, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions of the chief on this?
Is there any chance there's sensitive information on these computers, or?
No, they've
Are
been
we
completely wiped. They've been
completely
wiped. Yes,
wiped?
completely wiped. They're back to like if you bought them brand new.
Okay.
Basic systems on them. So, and some, like I said, some of them don't even work. So I thought that would be great. Give them to the school, the computer science. If they screw them up, who cares? They don't work anyway, so.
Sure. You said
I
some
like
of them are
to
going
part
to
your
the,
dad's drill,
Yeah.
some of them are going to the Boys and Girls Club though.
Yes, I'm gonna pick the better ones out and give them to the Boys and Girls Club so they can utilize them for the kids to get on and do their homework or whatever they do over there.
I just don't want their next hack to be blamed on us,
No, they've been completely wiped.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing else?
Any other questions? Motion to approve resolution 19?
Motion to approve resolution 19-2023.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. I recently accepted a position with the Boys and Girls Club, so I am
Okay.
going to abstain from that vote, but I thank you for the donation.
No problem. There's more to come.
Okay, well,
We have
I'll have to
lots of
abstain from those.
typewriters. Lots of typewriters if you could use those. I think they might even be electric.
I haven't started yet, so I don't speak on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club yet.
Greg, Josh, 401. Now our favorite part of the evening. Our librarian, Diana.
Inside your bag, you'll find tonight's information too, if you don't have it. And a few other goodies.
Kind of puppy.
This is an overdue library.
Well, thank you, gentlemen and Diana, for allowing us the time to come tonight to make our proposal. To preference tonight's presentation, your packet does have all the information I'm sharing with you tonight. We are seeking the town council as our fiscal body, the approval to apply for a GO bond, but I'd like to share just a little information before that. I could speak from my heart and I would go on and on forever, so I'm going to try and keep to my script here so I don't go over. First, I want to thank you for serving, and I want to thank you for those great banners honoring our veterans. Those look really nice. I saw those this morning. That's great. I, too, love serving our community and absolutely love our community. Over the years, I have contributed to both the preservation and its future. I have been a team member of the library since 1999 and honored to serve as its director since 2004. My desire was to provide a professional staff, relevant services that our residents need and want, outstanding programs, available spaces, a diverse collection of materials, and up-to-date technology that makes us of value to our residents. I believe that the Library Board of Trustees have been excellent stewards of our generous taxpayers' dollars, and during my tenure, I have applied for and have been awarded over $700,000 in grants, rebates, and donations. Since 2004, I managed a $5.9 million lease rental budget for the remodeling, in addition, adding 12,000 square feet of desired space to our main level and a 9,000 square dry basement. Over the years, we've conducted extensive focus groups, several surveys, and encouraged an ongoing feedback from our residents and our patrons. With that information, I have maintained our facility, increased staffing, provided outstanding program, encouraged many collaborations. We have many museum passes that are free to our residents. We were the Beta Library in 2008. 7 of us started the Evergreen Indiana Consortium. Now over 130 of the 239 public libraries are part of that, so we get to use everyone's materials. We established an intergovernmental agreement with the Mooresville Consolidated School Corporation. We share a librarian, each of us part-time, make her full-time. She's at Paul Hadley Middle School. The kids see her at Paul Hadley and they see her at the library after school. Very proud of that. We've made improvements without seeking any additional debt over 18 years. Through careful planning, we followed and crafted this wonderful plan, capital improvement plan, that has been funded by a rainy day. However, we will exhaust those funds as our building and our mechanics begin to age. Today, I ask your support for our proposal to seek a general obligation bond to continue to invest in our town's public library with the sole purpose to benefit our residents with mechanical, general upgrades, and changing the library's footprint to better serve our community and how it is used today. We are not seeking to increase taxes. We are actually wanting to bond at our current levy. So today I gave you some packets. You had those earlier. This one has our 10 proposed projects. On that worksheet, it tells you the justification for those, and it also says the scope and the benefit. Obviously, 18 years on an HVAC system takes its toll, and we're open 59 hours a week. It's at the end of life. I've replaced 4 of those 5 condensers, a lot of VAV boxes inside. We are considering a geothermal replacement. It's energy saving. There's lots of rebates out there, a lot of rebates, and it's less carbon and better comfort for our patrons and our staff. Electrical update, I'd love to get a generator for backup. We are the hub for information and connectivity. This past storm where we had several people out for 5 to 6 days, we had people coming in because we were still online, and they could charge their cell phones and be able to call loved ones to let them know they're okay. Our young adult zone, we've outgrown that space. In 2018, our partnership with the Mooresville Consolidated School Corporation with that teen librarian, our programs increased 36% and our attendance 96%. So we want to expand the social and study room spaces for our teens, have a maker space to encourage the curiosity and exploration, and a safe place for our teens. And our fire or our police department doesn't have to worry about them. We'll take care of them. We want to finish the basement, that 9,000 square feet. On average, our community room and our 3 study rooms are booked by businesses, local organizations, and other non-for-profits. These study rooms serve different groups, study spaces, small businesses, and often depositions are taken in the library. We need more public meeting spaces. The town doesn't offer many options of meetings, and ours is free. We will offer another large meeting room in the basement. All administrative offices, staff workroom, and the lounge will be moved to there as well, opening up more space on the main floor to expand our children's area. Number 5 is that. So by expanding the basement, we can open up again in 2006, so a year after we opened, people got used to us being there and being larger. Our children's program increased 69% and our attendance grew 71%. We have outgrown that area and we want to continue that. Plus, you may not realize we host a lot of child visitations in the library, and to have more space for them, to have that privacy would be beneficial. So the expansion would be opening more spaces, gathering, seating, and program opportunities. On the back, number 6 is a quiet room. This has been requested by our patrons. We haven't had a quiet library, any public library, since the 1950s when we started doing children's programs. So we would like an oasis for our patrons to come in, a new space for the adults to have for reading newspapers. They still love the paper newspapers. We still have 53 subscriptions to newspapers, paper newspapers, and magazines, and it can also be used in an additional meeting room. Number 7 is our restroom upgrades. Our current restrooms in our children's area is a 1989 building. It was not upgraded in 2004, so it has the same flooring, and it just needs to be transformed to something more inviting and user-friendly. More up-to-date fixtures, and we also are going to create a handicapped single-family restroom as well in an area, so that we have many occasions where we've had someone, a husband and wife, come in and she's in a wheelchair or he's in a wheelchair. They need to use a restroom and they don't know which restroom to go into. We want to eliminate that problem. In our PC station, currently that space is being underutilized. When we opened it up in 2004, we had 18 PCs in that lab and every one of them was used. Now we're down to about 6. People bring in their own devices and they just use our Wi-Fi and they take off in little corners and nooks to use it. So we want to repurpose that by expanding that to our teen room. So teen room butts up against that. We're going to open that up and make that area larger in that process. And then new flooring and furnishings. Again, the building's 18 years old. The other one's older, the other part. Although I have them annually cleaned and regularly maintained, the carpets are beginning to show their wear. In addition, I've had the interior painted 4 times in 18 years. It just needs an uplift. And an inviting and a fresh look will attract new users, and it's just an investment in the facility. And finally, roofing. The 1989 roof was re-roofed in 2010, asphalt shingles, but the expansion has 3 sections of rubber roofing, which are giving us a little bit of an issue, plus asphalt. And so that is just an investment. Everything that's underneath and everybody underneath is to stay dry. So those are the 10 projects that we're proposing with this GO bond. I do want to share that in that second bulletproof there, that over the 18 years, without incurring any debt whatsoever, no loans, I've done grants, rebates, whatever. We've replaced the roof on the old section, replaced all the fire panels, upgraded the fire and alarm system. We've maintained the HVAC system, replaced climate controls, and migrated to LED lighting, and that saved us about $10,000 a year. We're total electric. There's no gas in that building. We replaced the entire dry fire suppression system with nitrogen system, upgraded our analog phone system and surveillance equipment, resurfaced the parking lot, which we just almost finished this past week, replaced a few urinals, upgraded a few pieces of flooring, replaced a water heater and our network equipment. And we've rebuilt the website twice. All that without any additional loans. Have not done any in 18 years. So, but again, we're going to deplete that rainy day fund to continue that. So as an investment, you've got the second sheet or second package. It's like this is from K.R. Montgomery. These are just renderings of what we're trying to propose. And if you look at the first page, it's just kind of a timeline moving forward. The 2 next pages are actual just renderings of what we plan to do, what I've explained of where we're expanding or moving. We're not building new walls. We're not expanding outside of our 4 walls. We're just rearranging and changing the footprint inside those brick and mortar. So we have the main floor, and then the bottom one, the next page, is the basement. Again, that's 9,000 square feet. We're putting all administrative offices down there and offering another community room, which is almost a little bit bigger than the one we have now. And the other pages are just some ideas of what we might be looking at as far as furniture or flooring, those type of things. Any questions on that particular presentation? I know when I talked to Tom, he talked about you were probably looking at a new HVAC system as well. This is just a piece that's in your packet of what we're trying to propose with the geothermal, or if we're going to reinvest in what we currently have. And then I'm going to have Jane Herndon join me, please. Jane's with Ice Miller, and she works well with Baker and Tilly, and you have that particular packet there. If you want to share, or if you have questions, however you want to go about that with the actual funding and how we're going to move forward with that.
Absolutely. As Diane said, I'm Jane Herndon, a partner with Ice Miller. We're serving the library as bond counsel. I don't pretend to be a financial advisor, but I have done this for a while, so I'll try to answer your financial questions, and we can kind of highlight a few items on this presentation, if that's okay. This first page shows you that the library will be entirely out of debt by 2025. So you can see we only have 2 more years of payments on the existing bonds that were issued almost 20 years ago. So you can see that. You all may be familiar with the state changing some of the rules and how much debt service you can keep in your debt service fund. And when these original bonds were issued, you could keep 1 extra payment, so a 50% balance. With these new bonds, it will only be 15%, so that may sound familiar because I think it applies to towns as well. Because of that, this year is an important time for the library to issue new bonds. If they fail to issue bonds this year, there'll be a dip and then a bounce back up, and nobody tends to like that. And so the goal and the plan is to go ahead and issue bonds this year to manage that tax rate and the levy. At this point, let me kind of keep going through here. You can see the next page actually shows the payment amounts on the existing bonds. And I think the page that you're probably most interested in, it's a little farther back, is this one. So this shows you in the purple bars the existing debt, and the proposed debt is in the turquoise bar. It's a few pages back.
Her colors might be different.
Yeah, the color's different.
What's the title?
First 2 bars
Illustrated.
is called existing and illustrative debt service
Okay.
withdrawal payments. So you can see the first 2 bars,
Yep.
that's the existing debt. The turquoise are the payments proposed with this new debt. The goal is to keep those payments the same. So just like the town, to the extent that assessed value continues to grow, we think the tax rate will probably drop, but the financial advisor is very conservative. They're not assuming any growth in assessed value at all. They're going to keep those payments the same. You see this top, it looks like they have one big payment in 2024. That is the payment that they're going to use that operating balance.
So it's like they're paying that out of a reserve they've already got because they had to have the reserve.
Exactly.
So basically, one bond's dropping off, and you're borrowing the same debt service.
Correct. So it's planned to try to keep that as level possible for your taxpayers.
Okay.
Okay. The plan right now is to repay this in 10 years. There are some assumptions, interest rate assumptions, that again are conservative, and to the extent that it could get shortened up or lowered in annual payments, I know the board and the director would love that, but this is the maximums right now with what they have to go on. So the request is for the approval of a maximum bond issue amount, and that amount is the $3 million. So it's requesting a $3 million bond issue to be paid back.
Yep, the 5.7.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw 5.7.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at that.
Am I looking at an old one?
Maybe, let me see here, sorry. Hope I didn't get the wrong one.
That's why I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah, well, here it comes. Okay.
I have an old one. I'm sorry.
That's why the colors are
5 million
different.
7. That's why it looks different. 5 million 7 is a 20-year repayment. My apologies. So that would be 5 million 7 would be the maximum amount requested, and then repaid back over that 20-year period. You may wonder why the library is coming to you. Under the law, because the library has an appointed board, they're required to go to a fiscal or elected fiscal body for approval of their bonds. These will be library bonds, so they don't count against the town's debt limit. They will be the obligation of the library to repay, and the property tax will be assessed against all of the districts, all of the library districts. But they're required to come to you for your approval before they have the authority to move forward.
Does the tax rate stay the same, basically, assuming everything else is constant?
And it's possible it could actually drop down if assessed value continues to grow.
Right.
They're not assuming any assessed value growth at all.
Does the town have to, does this require an ordinance by the town, or just an approval?
This is a resolution issued
Resolution.
by the town
Okay.
because
It's not
the
our
library
bond.
board's taking the
Yeah.
action. It's their tax levy that they're utilizing for this. It's not the town's levy. But
they don't have a fiscal body, and for any approval, there has to be an approval mechanism for an appointed board by elected officials, and so it's a resolution action by you.
Provided a draft of such resolution. I think it's in the packet as well.
Are there any questions? Answer? All right, in concluding, I've taken a lot of your time. I invite and encourage your support to invest in the town's 111th year beacon of equality, hub of information, and a safe gathering place. I want to share that Mooresville Public Library was recognized by the Indiana Library Federation as an outstanding Indiana Public Library for the services that we provide. Thank you again for your time and your consideration and your support. So if you have any questions, I'm here to try to answer them. Or if you so move, you've got Mooresville pins in your bag if you want to sign a resolution.
Did you have anybody survey for the geothermal to see if?
We have not surveyed yet.
I didn't know if.
That would still be in there, but she's a consultant and has done many, and I know she did come in and do a whole valuation. But yeah, I know there's, depending on the size of your property and how deep and that type of thing.
Because I know a lot of your parking lot is underground retention.
Yes, we do have a section on the west side, you're right, we do. So she said it would just have to go down deeper if that be the case into the bedrock, but again, that would be something that we would still be deciding if that was, if the return on investment's good, yes, if it's not, then obviously we're just gonna go.
What did they think about the savings? Did they give you an estimate on that, or?
They did, and unfortunately, I don't have Kelly here tonight.
It's here.
Is it on there? There's a lot
Where
of
it says proposed HVAC system replacement.
Which one?
It's,
separate page by itself. I'm sorry, it looks like this. I gave you so many pieces of paper. Thank you.
That's the back side.
And she didn't put in there, there's a lot of tax rebates right now that we would apply for, and I forget exactly how much. It was substantial.
it says it saves $39,120 a year, but it's substantially more expensive to put it in, so it says a 14.11 year payback. I don't know what the life of a geothermal is. Is it 20 years?
Longer, yeah. She said she's had some that are 30 and 40 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well then,
Yeah, they're a lot better than they used to be.
Right. But again, that's something we would be evaluating, going through that analysis to decide which would be the most, like I said, return on investment.
Jeffrey, any questions or comments? None. Payne?
no, I'm good.
Josh?
And I have lots of letters that I will send to you if you'd like for support.
Now, you did call Dale Carnegie to see if he would.
Yeah, she gets some money from me.
We did once, right?
That's right, you did.
You know that you made the comment that the state of Indiana recognized you and gave you an award. And every library in the state of Indiana probably has the exact same books in it. So the award really goes to you, your staff, and your board. So
Thank
I
you.
want
We're
to
proud
give
of
credit
that.
where credit is due.
Thank you. We are proud of that. And here's a picture of that library. Thank you.
Dylan, in the past, everyone always remembers when taxes go up and they fail to remember when taxes go down. I think this is an outstanding plan by the library board to make sure that everything stays the same. They are frugal with the money, and we certainly appreciate that. The assumptions that Ice Miller made are something that we can't see. Right now I look for something from the state on assessed values not going up any, just because of what we've seen in the past 12 months. But I still think that this is probably one of the best decisions that the library board, second only to hiring Diane in the first place.
Are you going to stay through the 20-year payoff?
Gentlemen, I need a motion to either approve or deny Resolution 20-2023.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Everybody at once. We'll give that one to Josh. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
And Josh, 5-0.
Thank you for what you do.
Got 3 board members.
Yep.
I can email you a copy. Got the signed one if you'd like, this one. Thank you.
I'm gonna use your black pen to sign that.
What's that? Okay.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance 9, 2023. Harry, that's you again. Unless, or do we still need a public hearing since it's setting a fee?
It's setting a fee, so you'll need it.
Harry came to us early on and said, hey, we need to do something because technology's changed and the state's changing, and thank you very much for doing that. If you would explain that in greater detail, I would appreciate it.
Sure. So when we took on the body cam program, and along with that came a responsibility to respond when citizens want freedom of information, or if they want body cam footage. And so they would come in and ask for it. Well, we didn't really have any way to pay for the media other than our regular budget. And if it was just 1 or 2 here and there, that'd be fine, but we were getting inundated at times with people wanting body cam footage. So I was asking about how could we charge them, if they want a copy of it, charge them for the media, because we can't really use any of their media because it could have a virus or something on it. I'd rather use something, clean. And so I asked Mr. Lee to come up with a schedule, pay schedule. And I got old Beth Copeland last week, and she wrote something up real quick about the media charge for videos when people want them. And actually, she said we weren't charging what most places charge for accident reports as well. We were charging pretty far under, compared to the towns our size. So she wrote that up. And this is just to pay for the media and the time, because I'm the only one that does it. So it takes me, sometimes an hour to get these videos together to give them to people. And they just are, like, last week, I think we had 3 come in at one time, so.
How many did you say? 3? Okay.
Yeah. Which if I had a person to do it for me, it would be an issue, but I don't really have a person to do it.
What are you laughing about?
Other questions of Harry?
What is it gonna go up to? Do you know the fees offhand?
It's on the schedule. So with the accident report, it's going to be $10. For an hour of processing of Carrie's time, it's going to be $100. Between 1 and 2 hours, $125, and $150 for more than 2 hours of processing.
From what I understand, that's following state statute on that. And actually, even though the accident reports went up $2, it's still cheaper than if you go online and get one from the state.
This is the first reading of this ordinance. Because it does set a fee, we cannot waive the procedure and approve it on first reading, so we will set the public hearing for our next meeting. Are there any questions of Carrie or of legal counsel?
All right, thank you.
Department head reports. Guess we should have just had it.
Got a quick handout.
Thank you.
agenda was short, so I thought I'd try my hand at technology. So this is what we're proposing for next year's community crossing, mill overlay, sidewalks, curbs, most of it. We can't add anything to it at this point, but we can take away if the board so chooses. So we have that, and they've started the saw cutting, and the Monroe Street project is underway. We met with the school yesterday and discussed the transportation scenarios that could possibly be, and I think we're working those out with Wallace, and I think they have a pretty good plan in place. So ideally, we wanted to start when school let out last year, but we ran into some hiccups, so we're starting when school starts this year. So worked out anyway. So that's all I have if anyone has any questions.
Would it take a long time for you just to read the drives?
Beat the drive.
Just read them so the public can hear what we're looking at? Would it take that long?
So, no, it would be quick, and there's a map there for the public to see, the highlighted streets.
Okay, well, I guess that's good enough then, I guess.
So
I guess they can see it, but,
it's like Westwood, Northfield, County Line,
okay.
Route 2. Westwood Drive from Northfield to County Line. Devonwood Drive from Westbrook to Edgewood. North Point Drive from all of North Point Drive. Star Lane, from North Drive to the end of the road. Westbrook Drive from Devonwood to Holiday Lane. Edgewood Drive from Fair Lane to Holiday Lane. Holiday Lane from Westbrook to Edgewood. Highland Drive from Indiana to Morning Star. Maple Lane from Greenwood to St. Clair. Cottonwood Drive from cul-de-sac to cul-de-sac. Sugarwood Drive from Sherwood to Cottonwood Drive. And that's it.
Thanks.
Sidewalks will be added or just?
So most of these all include the sidewalks. Yeah, tear out and replacement. Cannot add new sidewalks.
In the crossings, okay.
Dave, I was thinking that 2 years ago, from Fair Lane to and around Holiday, I thought we paved that. Because I do remember coming up and having some, that's when they put that water, they redid the water line there.
Right. Did I say Fairline?
You said, you've got it highlighted all the way down Westbrook south to Holiday Lane and around North Edgewood. And I'm pretty sure that we've already paved that.
Fairlane we have. That's not on.
Fair Lane, but I thought we did Westbrook from south all the way down to that cul-de-sac, because we had done the cul-de-sac the year before. Have you already submitted the application?
The application was submitted. I have to look at that a little closer.
I know that in the past, and you knew I was going to say this, was I've asked you not to include Westbrook on the parts where I live, and I know your argument has always been, what do I tell those people? And I said, give them my phone number. But I think that you did do the south part of Westbrook, I thought.
I will look at that closely tomorrow if I need to strike it out, but for some reason when I drove it, it didn't look like you did, but I'll look at that closer tomorrow.
Remember they did a water line through there? They redid that water line, and I think we paved it after that.
Okay.
If you would just check on that.
I will check on that.
I just want to make sure we don't get caught trying to double dip it.
Right, if we've done it the past couple of years, the state would kick it out, so, yeah, I'll look at that a little closer, but thinking it needed it for some reason. I know the water company, yeah, they want a sidewalk in that area. Thought the street didn't get it, but I will look at that closer.
Thank you. Any questions for Dave?
Thank you.
Good evening. Give me a second while I get set up. I do want to first apologize. I did have a few issues where my mind was elsewhere last week to not make the agenda and new business this evening. So I do apologize for that for the council this evening. But just bear with me while I set up the presentation that you have before you, so the community can see.
While Phil's doing that, I think I know most people, but just as a matter of reintroduction, I'm Matt Sainer. I am the president of the Park and Rec Board here in Mooresville. Is also the vice president of the school board. And one thing I asked Phil if I could come join and just do a brief intro here is kind of represent kind of the voice of the board. We have a few of the park board members here as well tonight. And we've seen a great transformation in the way that we think about parks. Not just we, but the way that communities in general are thinking about parks. And so we had a work session late last year, as well as one earlier this year, where we looked at what is our vision and what is our mission, right? What are we really trying to accomplish? We've had a great history of our park. I think our town, the reputation that community members have, and even members outside of our community have of our parks, is very high. But it's also one of those things where people are consistently asking the what ifs. When can we have this kind of attraction? When can we have this kind of recreational capability? Or I'm going to these neighboring communities because they're building these things. And, you know, we look at what does that mean for members of our community. So we want to be, our vision is to be the preferred destination for community recreation and wellness. And our mission is to provide quality parks and programs that enhance the well-being of all. And I think, you know, when we think about four kind of aspects that impacts of a community, right? Socially, parks and recreation strengthens our community ties. It builds those bonds. It's where people go. They have their reunions at the park. It's where they go to play youth sports or even adult sports. Physically engaging people in healthy lifestyles, keeping the quality of life and raising that quality of life for your community members. Mentally, as an escape, how do you escape the day job, and where do you go? You go to the green spaces, you go to the parks. That just frees and clears your mind. And economically, parks are proven to raise property values. They're proven to bring businesses in. They're proven to attract and retain families, especially people that are starting families, planning families, have young kids, as well as those who want to live in at all ages and embrace what parks have. So one of the things that the board challenged Phil here as our new superintendent and the leadership staff at the parks is to take these visions and the missions that the board has outlined and say, what would a master plan look like? What would be the best way for us to move forward to embrace what a modern park system looks like and build out a multi-part plan on how to potentially execute that. And I'm really going to not steal Phil's thunder, but we're really excited as a park board and as a community to be here tonight to show you this the possible execution of this vision and see what y'all think. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So as Matt kind of alluded to, we've did a master plan kind of internal study of what we see as the next stage for our park agency or district for the town of Mooresville. So tonight I'm showing you the proposed site master plan for Pioneer Park. This is primarily focused into the northern partials of the park, starting at the Northern Park Drive entrance next to our park office, and then migrating north across from the Aquatic Center to County Line Road. As we progressed through this study, we determined internally to make a multi-phase approach. And with that, we started with the area structure. So that was basically the concept, the dream stage. What could be conceptualized? What could work? What is something that we hope to provide for our community? That then phased into what we are here today, what you have before you in presentation, and what the community can see on the board. And that is the Park Master Plan. That is a site-specific plan that is separate from our standard 5 to 10 year master plan that most park agencies in the state and across the country do on a standard operating procedure. So as you can see, we're now kind of rolling into the detailed design phase. Then after that, we'll be rolling into the construction, then public use. With this presentation, this is looking at for just our phase 1. You will see upwards of 4 phases within this plan, but that is ultimately looking at the entire capability of the northern park partials of Pioneer Park. The phase 1 is outlined to roughly be about a 24-month project once started. That is roughly about 2 to 4 construction calendars, which is very typical for some of these projects that I have personally experienced and managed in past capacities. So, concept overview. As you can see on the northern, we will kind of not ignore, but we will recognize that large orange box at the top, butting up to county line of a potential community center. As outlined by the library director and also the board from the library, we need additional meeting spaces for our community. This provides another alternative for our community to gather, another safe location to recreate as a family, multi-generational. This is not, nor would it be tied in direct competition with any of our community's fitness or wellness providers that we currently offer. This is more or less to enhance the community recreational aspect for our families to gather and recreate together. As we migrate kind of south on that chart, you'll see basketball courts outlined, several flat surfaces. We are in discussion with Banning Engineering on creating a solid topo for these allocated acres of the park property to outline what would be needed for the resources for the flat surfaces that we have outlined in the proposal. Then you'll also see just north of our current park office, the new maintenance facility. One thing that we identified is if we do add pickleballs or anything into the open field adjacent just to the north of our aquatic center, we need to relocate our maintenance staff. And we purchased the property just north of the park office back in 2017, 2018, 19, right in there, along with J1, J2. We allocated those properties, and courteous with the street department, they helped us kind of clear the site as what you see it today, the old house that was on that property. Moving into kind of the phased approach, so the maintenance expansion would be the first step within this plan. That we can allocate our staff to move and migrate and open up the opportunity to use our existing maintenance facility as another conjunction of a meeting space or indoor recreational, and also a home for our pack camp. That is housed in Pioneer Park. Currently, right now, when we have inclement weather, as the council is very aware, some of these storms are very powerful and very fast. and trying to get our kids from the Lower Creek Shelter 7 up to our park office in a matter of minutes, and that's 75 kiddos. If anybody has kids, just trying to hoard one or two is tricky, but trying to imagine 75 through a 120-acre park. This opportunity to move our maintenance out of the existing facility provides our maintenance staff to also flourish and grow, to be able to sustain the growth that we are allocating for additional facilities and amenities for our park system. As you can see on that next page, following is a little detailed overview. So that allocation, so the lighter tan boxes are actually existing structures. The darker orange, I do apologize if anybody is colorblind. The darker orange structures are the proposed new structures to be built. The larger structure would be a 60 by 120. We are currently in discussions with a couple different firms that do pole barn type buildings for assessed values and cost. The additional would be a cold storage building. That would be for our mobile stage and also for our hay wagon during the fall hay rides, where we can store some of our equipment out of the amenities in the harsh winters. As we know, we had a very harsh winter this past year. A couple of the overviews of what you could potentially sustainable see when built. Some of the pictures, the actual left side, the brown building, two-tone, that is actually a concept 3D rendering from one of the firms that we've been discussing with, what the 60 by 120 could aesthetically look like. Color can change, of course, and amenities. We are looking at multifaceted change of the surfacing within this facility of being either a crushed stone or also asphalt. Concrete right now is absurd amount of cost, so it would be either asphalt or crushed stone. That would be into following what our capabilities and allowing for the structure and the actual facility itself when built. I want to pause just there before moving forward. Going into the next phase, does the council have any questions at this time? Okay. All right. Tommy, do you have? No. Okay. All right. So the new outdoor recreation expansion, that would be our next focus. After we've moved our maintenance staff into their new facility, we started renovating the old facility. Now we are talking pickleball. If you haven't heard about pickleball, I don't know where you've been living. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the U.S. and has been for basically the last 10 years. There are locations of pickleball in the southern states where it's warm year round, where you're waiting upwards of a month to almost a year to be able to play in those types of leagues. In Indiana, you have seen multiple communities around us build and redevelop and repurpose fields into pickleball, and they are packed day in, day out. One of the closest amenities that was recently built was just in Plainfield. They have a similar court set up as what's detailed here in this plan that you'll see. That is packed roughly 2 to 3 times a week. Every court is filled. If you get on, you're wading through multiple different interchanges before you get time to play. We have 2 organized pickleball groups in our community, and right now they go to outside communities to go play. This would offer us the opportunity to keep our community in our community, to recreate, and also to go out for lunch or a coffee right after playing pickleball. If you got skunked, then I guess you're finding a round of coffee. Just a different opportunity for us to do economic growth within our community by keeping our community here. This also details basketball courts. As Indiana, we are very big on basketball. We do currently have 2 full courts in Pioneer Park, but those are packed on a weekend basis. But this offers a unique amenity, and it is also proposed to change. This is our dream stage. So there is a community down south that did a covered basketball court with just a structured roof with lights. That is a very unique amenity for a park system and offers a multifaceted opportunity for us to do programming and also additional recreation opportunities. There's additional parking allocated to that section of growth, but right now you'd be focusing on that lower, larger bubble with that event center and pickleball section that is rolled into our phase 1. Next page, as you can see, some of the actual real-life renderings. The top right-hand corner is that covered basketball court facility that I was speaking about. Below that is what how it's detailed in this plan right now of what our parking lot would look, bird's eye view. And then the center photos showing the renovated space of our current maintenance facility. Some of these, if anybody has seen our maintenance facility, yes, some of these are a little far-fetched. It will take some doing, some growth, but it is opportunities for you to see real kind of pictures of what we're dreaming to be able to offer for our community. Things that can become reality. But right now it's our proposed plan to try to offer this for the community. Then on that far left, a couple of the amenities and offerings of what you would see for the setup of the pickleball courts as detailed. Any questions on that section right now? All right, park office and playground expansion. So currently, right now, our park office does hold our staff and has ample amount of space, and I do want to be conservative to you guys this time, so I will go a little quicker. This is a large section, so I do, again, apologize for not making it onto the agenda. The park office renovation, that would all add office space, more or less multi-purpose room for us to house our equipment, our printers, our copiers, our paper, our camp supplies, a little more into a climate-controlled environment. Right now, a lot of our camp and rec use supplies is held out in our garage, which is only heated. So during the summer, we rotate some of that equipment interior so we can keep it in a climate-controlled environment. This would also offer a larger boardroom meeting space using 2 of our bays of our current park structure. We have the opportunity to do a lot of this in-house growth expansion, but some of this would be contracted out. As we're looking at cost evaluation for all of this phasing, we've been working with Lehman & Lehman on proposed preliminary numbers. Those are detailed for all contract work. Nothing would be internally done. That is to see the higher scale dollar value that has been identified as past existing real life projects that have been actually done and funded in the past. With this expansion, a repurpose of a drive, another entry for the maintenance facility just to the north, additional opportunity for another park restroom for the northern side of our park. And it is identified that that is one of the low ends for definitely during our 4th of July celebrations, that we have limited restrooms on the northern section of the park outside of our aquatic center when it's in operations. So this opportunity would allow another restroom facility. As you see on the plans, there's another one allocated for the expansion for the event center as well. But these are just other opportunities. The playground, I would like to focus on that for just a second. This would be a design for multi-purpose and all-inclusive. So we're looking at a pour and play surfacing, so that's that sponge-like texture. Because mulch, yes, may follow into ADA standard, but if you ever try to push a wheelchair through mulch, you find very quickly that it is not ADA standard. So pour and play is one of those that is something to additional need. We do already have a ADA inclusive playground located at Shelter 2. This would add an additional amenity. The difference that we would be looking at this playground would be adding a fence or barrier system on the perimeter of the fence to also help with our community members that are in the learning or cognitive disabilities. We have some kids in the program in our youth that tend to run. They can't express themselves directly through words, so when they're frustrated, they run to find seclusion. This opportunity of creating a barrier system around a playground would give our parents and our community security while they get to play with their children. This would also be the additional of repurposing or redirecting our trail system to allow additional barrier systems from our road. Currently, right now, the playground on that section of property is very close to our Park Drive, and as you've been in our Park Drive, some of our patrons are law-abiding and they do follow our speed limit, and some do not. This is a conceptual project for Pour and Play on the right-hand side. That the multicolored facet is that Pour and Play surfacing, or PMP. That is, and also you can see the detailed orientation of basically a fence or barrier system. This park agency chose to do a fence. This was a long time project in southern Indiana that was a long time project and a long need, and they finally did it. They did a lot of it through grant funding and community funding. I'll speak very briefly on this. We pulled a survey in a multiple different fashion for a multi-generational community center. This project was out of San Antonio, Texas. They built the structure for roughly $9 million. Now, that was about 4 years ago. So expect a large dollar amount change in that. But this facility is allocated right now for a 17,000 square foot facility, housing a gymnasium, possibly 2 multi-purpose rooms, so a large meeting space or a venue for conferences or trainings, multi-purpose rooms for birthday parties or training, CPR or safe sitter classes, a small area for central recreation. This would not have an aquatic component at this time. That is also proposed to change, but right now our aquatics needs for our community are exterior and outdoors. The far left images are out of that project out of San Antonio. Some of the exterior buildings, the 3D renderings of the building, the aesthetics would look like. This, of course, is just an idea and is not exact purpose of what we're planning to do. Of course, that would be proposed to change. This project would take additional time and resources to be able to consider, and evaluations to also see what is fiscally responsible for our community to be able to offer if we choose to look at this offering for the community. In general, this now is our phase 1. So the maintenance facility, renovation of our current maintenance garage, additional of a community parking lot, pickleball courts with a central restroom, shade structures, and also the opportunity for additional restroom on the northern side of the park. Phase 2 is looking at the office expansion, playground renovation, and also expansion for basketball or additional parking. Phase 3 would be looking into the connectivity to County Line Road and the opportunity for a potential community center. In phase 4, as we've determined the life cycle of our mobile stage, an amphitheater may be in our near future for consideration. So I asked Lehman & Lehman to draw up conceptualized of what a amphitheater could work or look like for our park system. This, of course, is not necessarily the proposed final location, but this provides us with the opportunity to spin and twist and turn rendering this drawing into our multiple different areas in our park system to see what would work the best for the long-term future for our summer concert series and also for our 4th of July celebration. This shows all 4 phases all thrown into one. It does look a lot smaller on the map, but once you walk through the property, it's a lot larger than what you believe. I want to thank you for taking the consideration and also the courtesy of the time this evening. I do have some rough cost dollar amounts if the council would like, but my plan was to come back to the council in a later date, hopefully the second meeting this month, to present on those numbers, and I would provide those to you in advance for you to review and provide your own thoughts and questions on. But at this time, I would love to answer your questions. Yes, sir. I'm on the agenda for the RDC. We have done the same proposal that you see before you to the RDC last month. We are coming to them with more refined numbers and a possible ask.
Questions from the board?
I'd just like the record to show I support this. A lot of what you're doing, I think it's a really outstanding situation. But can we, I don't know, have the financial advisor look at, we have a capital plan. I saw the library as a capital plan. I was glad to hear that. I'd like somebody from Baker Tilly to say, look at townwide. I mean, the park has some to put in. I'm hoping redevelopment, I serve there. I'm hoping they have some to put in. I'm hoping we have some to put in. But I'd like a recommendation because we have a capital plan and I don't think this is in it. And I would just like them to say, hey, we would recommend this much from the town, this much from the park, this much from redevelopment.
Correct. You are right in saying that it is not in our comprehensive plan. We came into this at the late stages of that plan being finalized and completed.
I'm talking about the capital plan.
The capital plan,
not
yes.
comp plan. It's not in the comp plan either, is it?
No.
Because that's one of the problems I think that happens in a town system, and with the park having the statutory separation of its own board and all this, it kind of gets not confusing, but I would rather have somebody look at the town finances. We've got cash everywhere, in my view. We have cash everywhere. Food, beverage, we have cash at redevelopment. But I would like them to say, knowing what the town's already planning in our 10-year plan, I want them to recommend and say, hey, here's what I think should be done in knowing what's coming in the future.
Yes, we have actually started the conversation with Baker Tilly right now for also looking at the opportunity for, this is loaded word, bond, and that would be a park bond. So the park has the opportunity and the capability of issuing our own bond system. There's multiple other agencies that have done so in the past and have been able to do large projects.
So that would be a fourth source if you'd use town redevelopment, park cash out of your capital fund, and then a bond. There's multiple things bouncing around, and I'd like someone to look at it all.
And I think, I agree with you. And I think that, the preliminary due diligence, I think that trying to just put together, translate vision to, okay, what does that mean in actual implementation and phasing? I think now saying, here's potentially what the costs look like, then what are the funding opportunities that
Yeah.
and where is the skin in the game coming from, right? RDC, town council, existing funding from our budgets. I agree with you wholeheartedly on, trying to do that. I think one comment I was gonna make on the comp plan was, being part of that and reading the outcome of it too is one of the substantial themes in there was park development, right? Was parks. People even wanting more green space, which is another part of the strategy the board is asking to the leadership team here to evaluate. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that we want to think strategically on.
I don't think it's too late to add some to that. It's not finalized.
Well, okay. Well,
Right.
The last version I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to my knowledge, it's not been voted on by planning or us. I would think you could contribute to it since I don't know, but I'm speaking for myself. I don't represent everybody up here. I'm speaking for what I think.
And again, not putting words in all the board members' mouths, but I do know we want to be fiscally conservative, responsible with how the money is being spent. And we want the community to see what the return on the value of any expenditures are and how that's being funded. So it is a key objective of ours to make sure that that's
That is why we started the conversation fairly early with Baker Tilly to first take that first step of if the word bond was in the forefront of the conversation of how to fund this project. What is the capability? What is the level that we could take out for one on potential tax increase, or to try to stay within the levy system with no tax increase. So currently, right now, they have issued to the level of what we could potentially sustain with the plan to purchase for the same kind of strategy of repayment from 10 to 20 years. Both having upfront capital, cash on hand, and then also just outright full bond issue. So with the proposed, so I can just put some numbers in the council's mind, the phase one, that is the new maintenance facility, the renovation of the existing building, pickleball courts and parking lots, and playground expansion. These are all preliminary, but these have been earmarked from past projects that have been done. Of course, they are subject to change, but that phase one is earmarked at $3,632,773. Whoever hit the mic was perfect on that. The phase two would be the new basketball courts, basketball canopy structure, additional north parking lot, and also the park office parking lot redesign. That is an additional $1,057,326. So if you look at it, the phase one, phase two, you're looking at it a total preliminary cost investment of $4,690,000.
You have a printout of that here, or did you not?
I have a few. I also plan to provide that to the council for review electronically.
Okay, that's good.
These would be the numbers as I have it designed right now to be able to present and talk through on the next council meeting. If so, pleased. While you guys are noodling those numbers, we did, fun note, our restroom did arrive for Old Town Park. That has been fully dropped. If you came out to see it, it was a very long, hot day, but it is installed. Our crews are working diligently to connect our utilities, and we are hoping to have a grand all first flushing, as you would, once we get everything connected, and hopefully a celebration. So
You doing that?
Looks good. I passed there today. It looks good.
yeah, our crews are working hopefully this
I
week.
think he said first flushing. I'm like, yeah, probably.
the pool season is coming to an end as well. So if you haven't taken a dip in the pool, please do so tomorrow. That is our last day.
Anything about your booths at Old Settlers? I was told that you're...
Yes, Old Settlers for our food vendors is completely sold out. This is the first time, to my knowledge, and what I've been presented, first time that we have done so since 1999, since we first moved to Pioneer Park for the Old Settler celebration. So it is getting very cramped, and we are getting excited. We are eager for the community to be able to come out and celebrate Old Settlers. Yes, sir. Those have been in operation for over a week now. And they are cutting grass like they should. And we do have a few biters on our sealed bid offer, which will be to the council's approval and opening at your next meeting.
What was that for?
The mower equipment surplus, the past three mowers, the John Deere 1600, the John Deere 1570, and the Kubota Z133. New logo has been repurposed, and we are starting to do slow implementation. Right now that is on a lot of our social media and our electronic messaging. We are looking at what it would be cost evaluation for doing our phasing for new signage throughout the park.
You like it?
We saw for the new logo to pay homage to our long existing logo and more or less look at to a modernized similar logo. And if you can't tell or didn't notice, the tree, the actual greenery of the tree is indicated to pay homage to the state flag's torch. So to answer any questions the council may have. Very nice. Thank you for your time.
Matt, do you have anything? Gary, do you have anything? Well, we're you down, aren't we?
Yeah, I just wanted to put out that we did fill our last open spot for a full-time officer. And he went through 40-hour pre-basic this last week, along with a new reserve officer. And so he will be starting in field training pretty soon. So, and we also took possession of the sheriff's K-9 that he donated yesterday. I did. The sheriff donated a drug dog that is no longer. No, he's brand. He just turned 21.
Have you got him have we got a spot at the ILEA?
So ILEA is a year wait right now, so we did the 40-hour pre-basic so he could go ahead and start getting trained, get him on the road, get him through FTO. By the time he gets ILEA, he will have been doing this job probably for almost a year or so.
How many neighboring departments are full? Are there?
I don't know. Probably Plainfield is, I would imagine. I think they have 68 people or more.
There's a lot of them that
I
aren't.
think they're on new hires. I think they're going to hire 5 new or so.
Yeah, I think they're probably above 70 at this point. Last time I checked with the chief, there were 68. They're probably well above 70 at this point.
I think it's an
I don't
accomplishment.
think that the county's full. I could be wrong about that. I know Johnson County just filled their open spots, and then they just lost an officer today at the academy, so
Martinsville.
I have no idea. Yeah, so. Like I said, I have one reserve that we swore in the same time that we swore in our full-time guy. Now I've got another reserve we're swearing in tomorrow, and I'm probably going to stop at that right now. Just so we'll have 3 reserves capable of helping us out with personnel. So they'll be out on the Old Settlers Parade, but they'll be in a polo. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Legal counsel?
Nothing for you to consider today.
Public comments, we did have Kathy Van Hall. Did I say that right? Okay, come on up.
My name is Kathy Van Hall, and I'm here mostly to ask a few questions, but I do want to address, and it's all about lawyer trucking on Old 67. And I know that it's been talked about for a long, long time, and nothing seems to get done. So I'm wanting some answers about that, because I've been under the impression, and I've had some paperwork here that from the attorney, Beth Copeland, that she sent a letter to lawyer trucking and stating that they needed to be in compliance with the state and local laws. And this was in December 2021. And if lawyer trucking was not going to do that, then they were going to take legal action. And that would result in his property, a lien on his property. Well, as far as I know, nothing really has happened. So basically, I want some answers. Why hasn't anything happened? So, particularly, I've been told that he's supposedly cleaning up property in the front, and it does look a little better. But I don't know that he actually got rid of that stuff. He might have put it all to the back, because the back really looks bad. And maybe it's because I never was able to see the back because the front was so full. I don't know. I really don't know. But I don't understand why it's taking so long. And is there an end date? Was he given an end date to have this done? I never, unless it was when Beth Copeland wrote the letter and said he had 30 days. So other than that, and that was almost 2 years ago. So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I don't have any answer off the top of my head. I would have to look into this a little bit and pull that out. But generally what you do is you do an enforcement letter. You have a 30-day period on that, and then you go back out and check it. And if they aren't in compliance, you take action from there. So what I'll do is I'll check with Beth to see if she ever got anything back from there. My guess is that there's not been, that we haven't gone back out and gotten a full report of it, but I'll have to take a look at that.
I'll tell you what I think it is. This is a do-nothing council when it comes to things like this. Either our ordinances aren't strong enough or nothing gets enforced, and we have homes all over town that are now junkyards. We have homeless encampments in the center of our town. And it's a do-nothing council. And I think we've already voted to move forward on the said property.
Right.
From what I remember, this council voted to do that. It's kind of like the second phase of the sewer project. Whatever happened to that? We raised sewer rates, but it just disappears. So but I got voted off because I say things like what I'm saying now. But it's the truth. That's my view as a taxpayer in the town. Things don't get followed up on and things don't get done.
Who's to follow up? Follow up. I was told that, are you Mr. Sweeney? I was told that you were following up with lawyer. And what do you know?
During public comment, I didn't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, generally during public comment, it is, you make the statement, we can look back and get with it. But if you have an update that you would like to present, you can, I'm going to prevent you, but
Okay.
generally speaking, it's,
I have been in contact with him several times, and he is working on it. He has no help. He's working by himself. He's had quite a few things hauled off. You can't really see anything from the 67 side because he's working close to the building. And it's taken 40 years to get that way, so it's going to take a while to get.
There should be an end time. Say you have such and such a time, right? I mean, I think that's what this letter from Beth Copeland states. I have the letter, I'm sure you guys will have it. You probably don't have it with you.
I didn't know that he had been sent a letter.
Oh yeah, he was sent a letter.
He didn't say anything to me about it.
I have it.
Did you say 21?
Yes, December 2021.
Was it registered or?
Donald Case from the police department served it,
Okay.
and Mr. Lawyer signed for it. So
He didn't tell me that.
So I have that, but I'm not sure exactly here. So, but I got it here somewhere. I was gonna say, since I get to talk mostly and you guys don't have a lot to say, I was gonna say that, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the problem is not so much lawyer trucking as it is with the town council. Because the town council has rules, they have laws and ordinances, and they have been presented to lawyer trucking, and he has ignored them, which is his right. He does not have to do what the council says. But he does suffer the consequences. He should suffer the consequences of refusing to abide by the ordinance and the laws. I mean, I know he's just one man, but is this not a business? Does he not have other people working for him? Or even if he does, he can hire people. Well, the problem is that he has no consequences because the problem reverts to the town council, who will only threaten and not take action. What are the solutions? One, do nothing, which seems to be what is happening, and on the town council's part, and the problem is not solved and will get worse as time has already shown. Or you can quit threatening, as this child is not going to pick up his clothes because he now knows there are no consequences if he doesn't do it. Now, two, we can carry through with this threat of a lien or a lawsuit to be reimbursed for cleaning up his property, and the community will get what they want, and so does the town council, because they will be respected for doing their job. So that's basically what I want to say. I don't understand why there are no answers. And you can say you get back. Is somebody going to call me? Or do I have to come back to another meeting?
if you're talking about what I said, we'll reach out to you. And just let you know where we stand.
Okay, and do you have a time frame about when that might be?
Well, I'll go back to the office and discuss it with Beth, where we are with it, but then we'll have to follow up on the property itself.
Well, right, okay, let me ask this question, because I don't understand everything. Anybody knows me, I don't understand a lot, but, so, before, it goes back, it goes back to, I'm saying Beth Copeland, because is she a town attorney here, really?
She works for Taft, Stettinius, and Hollister, so she is an employee that I brought on,
Okay.
former corporation counsel for the city of Kokomo.
Okay. So she's already followed through, and she can only go so far, and then she asks the question back to the town council, well, what do you want to do? This is the letter I sent, what do you want to do? And the town council doesn't do anything then.
That's right.
It's like, okay, we're just gonna, well, he didn't really mean it. That's what it's appearing to be. And
And you can have, anytime you look at a situation, depending upon how close you are to it, it becomes more personal. But when we go through these processes, there are processes that we go by. We talk about the liens and things of that nature, where there's a process to go through that. It's the filing of a lawsuit. It is the appearance over there. It is the argument, and it's going through that entire process. That process isn't free. It costs money. And what this council is tasked with is there are a certain number of dollars that come into the town under the tax levies. They are to provide for all the services that a town is supposed to provide. We heard about a lot of it tonight, but when you look at the police, the fire, and all of the other services, that has to be paid out of those tax dollars. The question that comes up then is, what ancillary revenues do we have outside of that once we create the budget? What can we afford, and what is the return on investment, essentially? We went through and we took an action, on one of the properties that, well, I don't know if it was a bigger eyesore, but it was centrally located right here downtown. And we went through the process to go file the lawsuit, place a lien on it. And so we have a lien on a property right now. And we'll see if we ever collect on that. But that was a property right here downtown. A prioritization does need to be made at all times as to, okay, where does the town need to prioritize its dollars to make sure that the services are provided that they have to provide, and to set the town up for development in the future. And what I can do is I can tell you is I will talk to Beth Copeland. I will get the update from her and her interaction with Mr. Lawyer, and then I will present it to the town, because I can't take unilateral action as the attorney for the
you'll
town.
present it to the town council, you will? Oh,
Yes. And a determination is going to have to be made at that time. And that determination is going to be made, okay, are the dollars that the town will essentially have to pay me and the attorneys at Taft to go pursue this for the cleanup, to, in some instances, engage individuals, because if he doesn't clean it up, essentially the lien comes when we get the order allowing us to go clean it up, then we have to incur the expenses for that cleanup, and that's what goes back on the lien. That's what's on the property.
You get it recouped when the property is sold,
Property is sold,
if it ever gets sold.
if it is ever sold, and
And
then
if
if
it's
it's
not,
sold for
then-
enough. Then we have a lien out there, and the town is out the dollars that it is invested to get that cleaned up. And that is why that analysis kind of has to be made as to whether or not, okay, are the dollars that we're going to expend on that, can they be utilized in a process or something that will result in a better result for the town, that we can continue to provide other services, or will it not? And that's going to be an analysis. It may be when we get to that point, this town council says, no, we need to go and we need to clean it up, and we're going to take that action.
But you don't have to. The town does not have to do that. They could just let it go and go and go, right?
Can, yeah.
They annexed it into the town, so it seemed like they would care about what things were looking like down there. Just because it's not here in central town, doesn't mean that we all like to look at it. It's just, and I'm not just looking at you. It's just, it is very much an eyesore. And there's other things I get off on, but this is really, it's the worst business that I have ever seen around here that is like that. That it is literally a junkyard. Because he's not running just a trucking company, or he was. I don't know what it is now. It is junk. Cars and trucks and campers and I don't know what else. So, and I know it's not zoned for that. So, and there you go with the rules and the regulations, so. Okay, I guess you will get back with me. Okay. Great. Do you need my phone number? I don't think you have my phone number.
Down there.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Motion for approval of payment of claims?
Motion to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $867,155.71.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve payroll clearing in the amount of $268,033.87.
Been made, do I have a second? Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the council?
I'm not.
Okay,
I agree 100% with Kathy Van Hol. I think, I will say this though, that I think, there's other things that are in the same boat that the council's already voted to move forward with, and I think this is one of them. So I'd ask the attorney to check the voting record, because at the time, I think we voted to move forward with legal on that property, through the process. That's why the letter went out to start with. So I think we've already approved moving forward. It just hasn't happened, and there are other properties in the same boat. So, not just that one. Another thing I would like to mention that, it's my understanding that the town council was given an award, I think through the Kendrick Foundation. I saw it on social media several weeks ago. It's not been presented to the town council here, so I'd like to know where their award is and what it was for, and if they're going to see it and where it's at. Last, I'll say this. I asked for an executive session on another issue that's been sitting out there for, the state board informed us 8 months ago that an employee was overpaid, and I'd like to see something done about that. So I can bring it up publicly, or we can schedule an executive and handle it the proper way. It's up to the rest of the people here. So those are my 3 things.
the request for an executive session is, if you're making that request now, I need a motion from the council to have set an executive session, and we can have it.
I'll make that motion prior to next meeting.
And we, I mean,
It'll fall under that.
okay, and can you do prior 15th? How long would you like before that? Half hour, hour?
I think an hour, half hour, 45 minutes,
Before our next scheduled meeting, is that when we're looking at?
Yes.
maybe at 5:30.
I can be there at 5:30, so.
Yeah, 5:30.
James made the motion to have an executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. You'll send the paperwork. 5:30. Josh, do you have anything? Great. The award was given, and, you know, that does fall on me. I did bring it down and put it it is in the clerk treasurer's office.
Okay.
At our next meeting, I'll bring it out here. I'm horrible about, I guess, I think our actions, this council made a decision to, support, the mental health. We did it, in an open meeting. I guess I'm just, I didn't bring it down and pat ourselves on the back, but I'll have it at our next meeting. Next meeting will be August 15th, 6:30, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. I'll put this in. I forgot it. Hard. Till I just looked.